A growing global oil crisis is putting new pressure on international diplomacy. Former U.S. President Donald Trump is now calling on China to help reopen one of the world's most critical energy routes, the Strait of Hormuz. But as tensions rise in the Middle East and oil prices surge worldwide, analysts say Beijing has little incentive to step in. The crisis centers around the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow but strategically vital shipping lane connecting the Persian Gulf to global markets. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply normally passes through this route. However, following the escalation of conflict involving the United States, Israel, and Iran, the passage has become increasingly unstable. Iran's actions in the region have effectively restricted access to the strait, creating fears of a severe disruption to global energy supplies. The result has been sharp spikes in oil prices and growing concerns that the situation could trigger a major economic shock. With energy markets under pressure, Trump has begun urging several countries to help secure the waterway. Trump has called on multiple nations, including France, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom, to send naval forces to ensure the Strait of Hormuz remains open. But his message has been especially directed toward China. In an interview with the Financial Times, Trump suggested that Beijing should take responsibility for protecting the waterway because it is one of the biggest beneficiaries of the oil passing through the strait. He also indicated that China's response could influence an upcoming diplomatic meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, which is expected to take place later this month in Beijing. According to Trump, if China refuses to cooperate, the planned summit could be delayed. The issue has also complicated the broader relationship between Washington and Beijing. The proposed summit between Trump and Xi Jinping was originally expected to focus on trade disputes, tariffs, and strategic competition between the world's two largest economies. But the escalating conflict in the Middle East has now overshadowed those discussions. Inside China, reactions to the situation have been mixed. Some commentators argue that the United States is now facing the consequences of its own foreign policy decisions. Meanwhile, Chinese state media have questioned whether calls for international naval support in the Strait of Hormuz represent genuine cooperation or an attempt to share the risks of a conflict initiated by Washington. China's foreign ministry has so far avoided giving a direct response to Trump's request, emphasizing instead the importance of continued diplomatic communication between the two countries. Although China appears unlikely to deploy warships to the region, the country still has strong reasons to support stability in the Middle East. Beijing has invested significant political and diplomatic effort in the region in recent years. In 2023, China played a key role in brokering an agreement between Iran and Saudi Arabia to restore diplomatic relations, a move widely seen as a major diplomatic achievement. China also remains the largest buyer of Iranian oil, giving it considerable economic influence in the region. While Beijing may not intervene militarily, analysts say it could still attempt to use its diplomatic ties to encourage stability. For now, the future of the Strait of Hormuz remains uncertain. As the conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran continues, global markets are watching closely. Any prolonged disruption to this critical shipping lane could have far-reaching consequences for energy prices, global trade, and economic stability. Trump's appeal to China highlights just how interconnected the world's political and economic systems have become. But whether Beijing will choose to step in or simply wait as the crisis unfolds remains one of the biggest unanswered questions in today's rapidly evolving geopolitical landscape.